That was 2 hours ago, Anthony. I got my hair done. I have straight hair. Straight hair don't care today.
It look good. It look good.
I appreciate it.
Okay, when you get a fresh haircut, you get your fresh do done. You got to
Smells good.
Come on, you got to give props where props is due.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
All right, so Texas Live and Local, we got a couple things on tap here for you guys today. We got celebrating Army Day, 250th birthday.
Yes.
And then has your son or any kids talk about the Switch 2 for Nintendo?
You know what? Not so much.
Yeah.
And as he got more disciplined in sports, he even sold his PS5.
That is rare.
I was like, are you okay? No, but he was like, no, because all I'm going to do is waste time. But no, I know how popular it is.
Okay, so we're going to talk about that as well, give you guys the price, if you could even get your hands on one, because it's super popular. And lastly here, yesterday, Coco, we kind of left people with a cliffhanger about a certain restaurant in a certain city.
That doesn't have it?
We're going to really tell you the whole story now about the Waffle House in San Antonio.
Or the lack of. Just a little bit. All right, we do want to turn right now to the 24th anniversary of Tropical Storm Allison. It changed our area. We have Chief Meteorologist Mike Itzkovitz looking back at the mighty system through our viewers. Now, we've been sharing it with you all afternoon. Here's more.
Blanca says, I was pregnant, and that's all I remember. Well, I'm glad that you escaped. I'm sure your baby's 24 years old now, right? Or 23. 23 years old. Andy says, after that, the floods just never stopped. And Andy, I think you're onto something. We had Allison, we had numerous individual epic floods that happened in between. And then it was, sort of after that, obviously we had Hurricane Ike, and then we had like Memorial Day floods, Tax Day floods. We had Halloween floods. I mean, it just it seemed to happen all the time. And then, of course, we had Harvey. Melissa says, so much destruction at the University of Houston. That was what people don't understand. That part of Houston was like ground zero, like downtown Houston down to the 3rd Ward and heading down to the Hobby Airport area. The whole place was underwater. Unbelievable. Zay said, I was 17 and recently graduated from high school. Take me back. I want to go back. All right, Zay. Maybe not to that day, right? Now, Samantha shared this amazing picture of her bedroom flooded. She said, this is me at 16 in my bedroom. We lived in what was once my great-grandmother's house off of Hardy near the Beltway. So again, that's that Greens Bayou watershed that runs from the north side back across to the east side. That was the hardest hit area. Before the night was over, the water would be thigh high. My grandparents' house off of Lauder Road was also taking on water at the same time. We were able to renovate their house that summer, but my home was eventually torn down. All that's left there now is an empty lot and my favorite climbing tree. Oh my goodness, Samantha. See, I'm telling you, some of these stories are happy memories and some are just so sad. So Samantha, I hope everybody healed up, emotionally from that. So Michael Bumgardner says, exactly. So what a couple of days that was. First Tuesday and then Friday night. See, what happened was that the storm made landfall on a Tuesday, June the 5th. It moved and it flooded the first day, day 1. Moved up to the north, came back down on day 4 and 5 and flooded everything out again. And it was just as bad, if not worse, the second time around. So we had round after round of flooding. So yeah, Tuesday and then again on Friday. And then finally, we'll leave this on a light note. Laura, and I won't give her last name, I'll give it away. Laura said, I was 17 and we were up to no good. I'll keep those stories off the internet though. Probably a good move, Laura.
It's like not El Nino, but Tropical Storm Allison babies.
Yo, shout out to Laura though, keeping it real. I'm not mad at that.
Not at all. I can't see your face.
First names only. We're keeping first names.
Absolutely.
All right, JD, what are we talking? We got the tropics. We got a lot going on too, right?
Well, no.
Tropical Storm Allison.
We're gonna talk about Allison a little bit more. I was not in the weather department in 2001. I worked at Fox 26. Really? I was hired originally as a video editor. I don't know if y'all heard my story or not.
I never knew.
JD Lore coming through.
Yeah, I was hired as a video editor, and then I transitioned over to the weather department. But September of 2001 was the first time I was on the air, so I hadn't been on the air yet. in June of 01. But I was here, and yeah, I remember it as well. It made that landfall on Tuesday, as they were talking about, and then it was bad flooding, and then it came back that Friday night. I remember that we were trying to buy my wife a new car, and it was that Saturday morning we had scheduled a test drive, and like we were going through the night. Just the rain was crazy, and we were all like, we don't really want to drive out. We didn't know how bad it had been, but we woke up Saturday morning, so we like called the guy, got the answer machine, at the dealership. We're not gonna come, and then like right after that we like see the images and figure out what had happened with all of that rain. And for those who weren't around, this was like the Harvey of its time, of its generation.
It was crazy. I did radio back then. The amount of listeners that would call in scared, not knowing what to do was massive.
And this was a precursor to like the Memorial Day flood and the Tax Day flood, all that. None of that had really happened yet. This was the first just big flood event for the city of Houston in this time frame, and it was really surprising for everybody. The amount of rain that fell, as Mike mentioned earlier, was off the charts. You couldn't even think there'd be that much rain. And of course, since then we've had Harvey, which reset us all. But this was the Harvey before Harvey happened,
and this was after Hurricane Alicia in the 90s, so we hadn't had something so major till this thing came along.
Right, yeah, no, this was the first event. Yeah, no, there was nothing in the 90s. Alicia was actually in the 80s.
Oh, gosh,
so
I'm
there's
old.
no, but you're right. But your point is right. There had been nothing for years, tropically speaking. And again, this is a tropical storm, so people aren't thinking awful things, right? That were going to happen from this. And this is, for a long time, it was the only tropical storm that was ever retired. The name was ever retired. So that was something, again, that was kind of interesting overall, the way that all sort of turned out. It was a surprise for many of us. And it was a lot of water.
It was. How do you feel going into this? Do you, as a meteorologist, into this kind of season?
Someone asked me what I thought about this season. I hate to after last year, you just sort of think, okay, we did ours, right? We're going to get a break. And there's no sense to that whatsoever. But I can't help but feel that way, right? I'm just kind of like, okay, we did one. We're going to have a little bit of a break. But that's not true necessarily. Okay. So, it always got to be ready for hurricane season for sure.
And they said that this year's like another slightly above average.
Slightly above average, yeah, okay. Totally is what his expectations are.
All right, JD, my man, thanks as always.
You so much.
Sounds good.
He'll be back later with another look at the tropics. Right now, let's get on a one shot here, Tony, if you don't mind. So we're going to talk about this brain-eating amoeba. You might have seen some of this floating around on social media, on our Instagram as well. We put this out there earlier today. So the CDC has now confirmed that a 71-year-old woman died from this brain-eating amoeba after cleaning her sinuses with unboiled tap water at an RV campground. The exact location of this hasn't been released just yet, but the amoeba is known as Naegleria fowleri, and it's very rare and it's often fatal. So let's look at some video here. This is what it looks like under a microscope, and the Brazoria River Authority says brain-eating amoebas thrive in warm, fresh water, and the only way for a person to be infected with it is through activities that could force water up your nasal passages. For example, like if you're actually in the water. It's the summertime, a lot of families trying to enjoy the summer, so they're going to get out there and try to hop in a body of water. So experts say, it's just a good idea to be careful. So you want to wear a nose clip, hold your nose when jumping into water, keep your head above water if you possibly can. Also avoid kicking up any sediment while swimming because the amoebas live in the soil. Right? So if you experience a headache after you maybe jump in some water, fever or nausea after swimming, you should definitely contact a doctor as soon as possible and try to get some medical attention.
That is really sad.
It really, really is. And at an RV park as well, you have one of those like neti pots and stuff, and you kind of flush your sinuses.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we're told that she didn't boil the water. So you got to boil the water if you're going to use
sanitize it.
Water and sanitize. Exactly.
Okay. All right. So we'll turn now to the U.S. Army celebrating 250 250th birthday this month.
That's
Do
right.
you have family in the Army?
Yeah, I've got two. My Uncle Elton and my Uncle Randy. Shout out to y'all. They were both in the military in New Jersey. So one was a chef. The other was in the Army, like, you know, carrying the weapons and all that stuff. You know?
Yeah.
He's one of those guys.
Okay. Yeah, no, my brother Marcus, shout out to him. I have 3 uncles and an aunt.
Yeah.
They were all in the military. But it takes a really special kind of person.
It does, you know, and it's a good career path, you know, in the long run. You know, they've done really well for themselves. I'm sure your family done well for themselves as well after spending time in the military.
Yes.
So we got a big time birthday coming up.
Yes, absolutely. All year long. So we had some special guests on the earlier show a little bit today.
Share just one more time, first and foremost, the importance of many of our viewers who may be considering joining, serving our country. Maybe someone's watching right now and considering what should they consider if this is something that's on their mind.
Yeah, sure. So if this is something on their mind, at least come and talk to us, because we can talk to you about what it is that you want to do that aligns with your career path or what you have in mind for your future. We'll give you a quick exam to assess you and see what you qualify for as well as what your aptitudes are, and help you choose a career path. From there, you know, we'll start the process and see about medical qualifications and all of that. But at least come talk to us and explore the possibilities.
So what are some events you have coming up this month that people should keep in mind?
So this month we are celebrating the Army 250th birthday. We're doing the gala at the Omni Hotel, which we are really excited about. And we will be showcasing these amazing gentlemen that you see in front of you, and the young men and women behind us who will be doing our color guard. And all of this was coordinated by the civilian aide to the Secretary of the Army, Ms. Trevino. So shout out, thank you so much for your support.
And introduce yourselves. Who do we have with us today, and who are you representing?
My name is Bill Myers. I'm Tom Boris. We're both with the Revolutionary Education. It's a new program. It's a nonprofit that is founded here in Houston by prior military as well as some of the civilian assets through the Houston area.
And we have some JROTC students here
We
as well.
also have volunteers from schools. The JROTC behind me is from World Trip High School. They are the JRTC program's color guard members.
And you all will be performing and presenting the colors, later this week?
On the 14th.
On the 14th.
The 14th of June at the gala.
Gotcha. So you have a performance for us today you wanted to share here really quickly?
Sure, yeah.
All right. I'll keep it with
Mr. Myers.
Sure. On behalf of the 250th anniversary of the United States Army, I'm going to play a quick little drum cadence. It's called the Army 2-4.
All right. Yeah. I didn't know what to do with that. Yeah, I thought I was waiting for a little. It was good. It was good. But hey, it's 3 of us now. We're here in the studio, joined by Spencer Russell here from H-Town, and he's got quite the story. We're going to talk about his really path to teach toddlers how to read. What's up, my man?
Yes, sir.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me. Welcome.
course.
Thanks, and congrats on the new show.
Hey,
Thank you.
we're excited to be here, man.
Part of the first week.
All right, so some folks on social media might already be following him if you're a parent. His Instagram handle is Toddlers Can Read. And tell folks at home, what is it about? How did you get started with all this?
Yeah, I'm a former kindergarten and first grade teacher, so I taught kids, many of whom struggled with reading. Many of the parents struggled to support them with their reading. I'm a former kid who struggled with reading myself. So this was a real challenge for me in first grade when I first started, something that still stays with me and a lot of other people today. And I started this business to help parents teach their kids how to read. Now, it's called Toddlers Can Read, but if you have an 18-month-old, a 3-year-old, a 5-year-old, a 10-year-old, anyone who you want to learn how to read, my mission is to help parents understand you can do it. And it's actually a lot easier and a lot more fun than you often think.
So do you have a certain instruction, things that you need to do, or things within the book themselves?
There's a method that we walk parents through that starts with teaching your child letter sounds. Once you know basic letter sounds, for example, S says S, A says A, T says T, then you can start to stretch them together, sat, into words. And the book that you're holding right now We've developed books that are really easy for children to learn to read because it includes very basic sounds.
And it tells you right here, adult read text and then child read text. So it is a step-by-step instruction on how to help them through it. That is amazing.
Exactly, because oftentimes parents get so excited to teach their kids to read, they just put this book in front of them, and the book is full of these words the kids can't read and understand. And ultimately, it breaks the confidence. It brings that spirit down. And so we want to put books and text in front of kids that they can read, that they can sound out, to build that confidence, and then to walk them through a progression of all the steps they need to learn next.
So like the parent becomes like an extension of a teacher, and then you try to make it fun for them as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, and so what's the youngest age you recommend trying to get in on this?
You know, it's tricky. Every kid is different, especially kids below 2. Okay. So with my son, I started with him at 18 months. He was ready to learn a couple letter sounds at a time. Not every 18-month-old is. So you have to look at your child and say, are they ready to do this? And am I ready to do this? But I've had a lot of parents of 2 and 3-year-olds have a lot of success teaching their kids to read because, like I shared, it's just teaching a couple letter sounds, slowly stretching them together, and then the kid is reading.
And is that when you can tell if they're ready once you start doing those beginning steps?
You often have clues beforehand.
Okay.
So if you think about the letter O, it's just a circle.
Yeah.
Most parents at the age of 2 have taught their kids, this is a circle. The kid remembers this is a circle. You teach them Monday. On Tuesday, they look at it, they say circle. It's that same skill to be able to look at that shape and say, ah.
Right.
If they can recognize the shape, remember the shape, they can recognize and remember the sound. So you can look at your child's oral language, you can look at their memory, and take a really good guess and say, you know what? They're remembering things, they're speaking, they're beginning to say the sounds. I think I can begin to teach them what each sound on the page is.
You know what's crazy, Coco? So I did a story with Spencer like a year and a half ago, and I posted the story on social media, and so many of my friends were already following him and were doing what he was teaching online and said that, hey, my kid is reading now because of the work we did with him. So now you've got quite the platform, man, on all your social media, millions of followers. But then that led to this partnership here with Love Every. So kind of how did this like synergy come about between you guys?
Yeah, it's pretty special. Because when I had my first son, we have 2 kids.
Yeah.
My oldest is 7, and my youngest is now 5 months. And when we had my first child, Love Every was like just kind of starting. Like most people hadn't heard of them. We had bought their play mat, and they had just started to build these play kits for parents, which every couple months you get shipped some different toys and playthings and books that helps you with your child's development. One of the cool features is it includes a play guide, which helps to guide the parent through how to use the things.
Oh,
so,
can I see it?
Yeah, of course. So we don't just send you books to read with your kid. We send you guidance on how to read that book with your kid, because this is something a lot of parents are missing. But I never thought I'd have the chance to partner with them.
Yeah.
It was just something that we were using with our son. But as Love Every has grown, we've come to take on educational products, like reading products. And so I really meet with Toddlers Can Read and Love Every at this intersection of being able to create awesome reading resources that are really simple, but being able to do it through play. That's something that we both share. And it's not just really effective, it's also really fun and engaging. And to me, what's most important is that it is screen-free, hands-on.
That's amazing.
I want your kid to learn how to read. What I want more is I want your kid to be able to interact in the world without screens. I want them to be able to hold a conversation. I want them to be able to enjoy company and share and play. And I think that's something that myself and Love Every, we just had in common, and it feels like a fit. And honestly, it's much different than a lot of social media for parents. A lot of social media for parents is just like, do whatever you want. Everything's fine. Everything goes.
This is being productive along the way.
And Lord knows we need the kids reading, man, because sometimes,
Seriously,
if we're being honest.
Some of this typing that's going on, they're using 3 words to say a complete sentence.
Like they get iPads and stuff so young, like, literacy is kind of, there's a gap there. If you talk to any teacher across the country, you're going to see like things like this really make a difference. So Spencer, you're the man.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming
by.
by.
Where can we find these? People can buy these.
Yes, this is on loveevery.com. Also, my Instagram at Toddlers Can Read. I've got lots of free content for parents.
Okay.
So if you're like, I'm not sure if my kid's ready to get started, I just want some info, you can check it out. I've got a free training, I've got resources, videos, courses, lots of stuff to support parents, and just trying to make it a simple, to follow, so people don't have to feel overwhelmed at the prospect of doing one more thing with their kids.
And you know we love free.
Yes. Free is the word of the day. Daily.
All right. Next up, what we got coming up
Yeah,
next?
we are going back to JD. This time he has got a tropical update for us.
I'm Fox 26 meteorologist John Dawson. This is your tropical update. Today is Thursday, 5th of June. We're going to be diving into things, and spoiler alert, right to let you know off the top, the good news from the National Hurricane Center is we're not looking at any tropical formation, any cyclones forming in the Atlantic Basin over the next 7 days. Now, I do have some interesting discussions about all that Saharan dust that we're going to be talking about, but just sort of that bigger picture is that things are still remaining quiet overall in the Atlantic. Now, if you're over in the Pacific side of things, there is a little bit of activity. We could see a tropical depression or a tropical storm forming quite quickly, but for today, we'll be focusing on the Atlantic side of things. And as I mentioned, we're going to have a bit of an in-depth discussion on some of the dust that we're dealing with, that Saharan dust, which is relatively common for this time of the year across the Atlantic Basin. So what we've been watching is an upper level low that the National Hurricane Center was keeping an eye on as the potential, if it were to hang out over the surface of the Atlantic Ocean a little bit too much, it could try to form a bit of a tropical system. But that's not going to be the case, so the Hurricane Center no longer watching this. But we're certainly looking, if you're in the southeastern portions of the U.S., we're certainly looking for some rainy conditions. It's just going to be a non-tropical low that we're dealing with. So just to kind of, again, that reminder as far as the tropical activity that we're used to seeing this time of the year, we are normally fairly quiet. We don't look for a lot of activity overall when we look into June, even through July. Once we get into August, things begin to ramp up. We reach the very peak of tropical cyclone activity, so that means both hurricanes and tropical storms or even depressions. That's September the 10th, and then it'll, of course, drop off as it moves through. It's the 6 months out of the year that we most commonly would see tropical activity. That's what we call hurricane season. It started on June 1st, goes all the way through the end of November. And there are some specific areas that we watch for this activity during different months. And it's just that it's more favored. Historically speaking, this is where we've seen the activity. So I know that things have changed with climate change overall over the years, but historically speaking, this is kind of what we've been kind of looking at. This is based on data from 1944 to 2020 for named storms. So a tropical storm, even a depression, this is the general area where we look for development. And the thing that's a little concerning about that is how close it is to the U.S., right? That's not a lot of time to prepare if something were to form. If something were to form way out in the Atlantic, we have more time to track it. So this is a time of year that we kind of have to keep an eye on things pretty close. And when we look at where hurricanes form in June, we are seeing it right along this eastern edge of the Gulf. That's kind of where we would see the activity happening for a hurricane to be formed this time of the year. And again, that's sort of historically speaking where we've seen the activity and where we would look for it. Now with the dust that's out there, this is something that's relatively common. What's a little bit less common is to have this dust reach all the way to the Gulf Coast. So if you live along the Gulf Coast, like for us here in Houston area, you're going to see all this dust moving in and impacting our weekend forecast, bringing a lot of haze across the Houston area and the Gulf Coast. And we'll also be bringing the haze, and the lack of rain allows our temperatures also to rise up a little bit. And then we have this next batch that's already kind of prepping itself, already moving off of that African coast. Again, this dust will travel across the Atlantic, and it has impacts on tropical systems as they're trying to form. And we're going to dive into that a little bit, but just see how that continues to make its way into the Gulf and around the area of Florida. And just then we get little breaks in here. When we see these breaks, that's when it's a little bit more likely that something could form. So if we have a weaker system that's trying to form, so if we have something that's not tropical yet, but it's trying to develop, and we have all this dry air, and here are the thunderstorms that are trying to get organized, trying to get that counterclockwise rotation in order to start forming a low at the surface. That dry air gets kind of pulled into the system, and instead of allowing that to energy, those storms to get up and higher into the atmosphere and stronger, it kind of stifles it out a little bit. So those weaker systems like that, it just helps to not even have them form at all. Now, if you already have a large system like a hurricane, and it's already got well-defined ways that it pulls air into it and then pushes air out of it, inflows and outflows. And if it grabs onto some of that dusty air and brings it in, again, it just makes it more difficult to keep its energy, to keep its strength as it's pulling in that dusty air, and it just sort of begins to give less showers and storms overall. A little bit of history here. I just thought this is a new graphic that's been updated this year. We've been looking at this graphic for a long time, the costliest hurricanes that we've had from 1900, since 1900. Again, this is a dollar figure only. It's not the deadliest. It's not the strongest. It's the costliest. What is the cost? And this has been adjusted to the numbers in 2024. So obviously Hurricane Katrina happened in 2005, but those numbers have been adjusted. If it happened in last year in 2024, it would have been over a $200 billion incident. And so it's very, very costly. That's number one. But the one that we're adding here is Helene. Helene has now jumped its way into the top 10 list from last year, and that is a $78 billion incident with Helene. You'll remember Helene made landfall in the Florida region and then moved up and into the Carolinas and really was devastating. Real quick, I got a couple other things I want to show you. These are some things that have been updated recently. Rainfall from storms. We've been talking about the anniversary of Allison just a little bit, Tropical Storm Allison from 2001, and that brought a lot of rain for the Houston area, but it's not as much, of course, as what we saw in Harvey. So if you look at these states, these storms dropped the most rain, tropical rain that's ever been recorded. So Harvey obviously is the biggest for Texas. In 1940, there was an August hurricane that dropped 37 inches in Louisiana. Jorge's in 1998 dropped a lot in Mississippi. Barry in 2019 was for Arkansas. And then Norma was in 1981 for Oklahoma with over 18 inches of rain. All right, that's going to do it for our tropical update today. Always a quick reminder, if you're on YouTube, you want some more preparation ideas, look up my YouTube channel. There's a whole playlist of my hurricane gear test. When you're on YouTube, you can search for hurricane gear test, or in that search bar, just put in meteorologist John Dawson. We'll have another tropical update for you, of course, coming up tomorrow.
All right, welcome back to Texas Live and Local. And you know, Coco, my nephew the other day, he was like, Uncle Tony, can you buy me a Nintendo Switch? Then I looked at the price and I was like, nah, we ain't there yet.
Uncle Tony buys a lot of stuff.
No, but not that Switch. But you know what? It's super popular. Folks waited in line yesterday for hours to try to get their hands on it.
Yes, and we have an expert right now, John Stenval from the Backstage Experience. You guys not only do movies, you do gaming.
We do a lot of gaming. We had Ninja, who's the biggest gamer in the world. He makes like $50 million a year doing gaming and Pokemon on our debut episode. So we've just kind of taken off from there. But yeah, like you were saying, the Nintendo Switch 2 is retailing for $450, and that is just for the console. That doesn't include any games. Games are $80 a piece. Unless you buy the bundled version of the Nintendo Switch 2 that comes with Mario Kart World, that one's $499.99. But by the time you add on all the video games you actually want, you're looking at what, $1,000?
So it's okay. So I'm not a gamer, obviously. Yeah. Is it the little device?
Yeah. So it's handheld, but you can also dock it to your TV as well. So you can play it on your TV, and then you can pick it up. You can take it with you. And so some of the things that they've added to the new one is obviously you got a better liquid crystal display, faster refresh rate. So when it's docked, you're looking at like 4K at 60 hertz. And then when you take it on the road with you, you're doing 1080 at about 120 hertz. So it gives you some flexibility to play it whether you want to do it at home or on the road. It's got these new Joy-Con 2 controllers as well. So the old ones used to slide in. They're plastic. And they were a little flimsy, at times. So now the new ones are magnetic. and so they really stick well.
Of course they are. Everything
It
better.
makes it easy. And then you can also rotate them, and they work like a mouse as well on the Nintendo Switch. And so it gives you some flexibility with your gameplay. And the new analog sticks are also larger. They're smoother. They're more durable. And so it's just easier to use. Now, one of the cool new features is this game chat feature, which allows players to chat remotely and share their screens and webcams online. So if you're going on Twitch or anything like that, it makes it more fluid in order to include your gameplay with the rest of the world. And so some of the big new games that are coming out is obviously Mario Kart World, which I just talked about. That's going to be the first new Switch 2 game. You got over 40 playable characters on that. You're going to have new clothing options, upgradable vehicles. That's retailing. If you get it separate from the bundled pack, it's going to be $80 for the digital version and then $90 for the physical version. But the cool thing is like you can do off-road racing, boat racing, you can do jumps off the walls, all types of fun stuff. And there's like a free roam feature, which is new to it. So like you can have like up to 8 friends come and play with you online, and you can do the old school like battle royale and all that. There's Joy-Con 2 controllers.
Are there any left though? If you
Right, that's what I was about to say.
You're teasing.
Yeah. So,
how do you get your hands on one if they're already gone, or what do you?
Yeah, I mean, you got to get on the wait list. So like one of our producers here, she got on the wait list back in April. She doesn't get delivery till September.
Wow.
Patience.
Are you serious?
Yeah. So I mean, that's what, 3.5 months.
Yeah. So if you weren't in line already,
that's why people are lining up. Yeah, and so people are dropping the cash. I mean, I'm sure if you go on eBay or Amazon right now,
for a small price,
you can get one for probably $1,200. Is what I'm thinking. Is probably what it is.
Because some of those people get in line just to resell it.
Oh, for sure.
Cheaters.
Absolutely. Yeah. But one of the cool things too is like they're gonna have this new online shop as well, and so you can go back. Remember the GameCube back in the day?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They got new updated versions of the GameCube games, and so you can end up playing those. But then they're also opening up to third-party developers, so you can play like Elden Ring, Cyberpunk 2077, WWE 2K25. You know, all these like newer games as well. The new Borderlands game is going to be on there. So yeah, but like you're saying, it's $449, so $450 plus tax for the Nintendo Switch 2. You're looking at $80, $90 a game. So
yeah, in a year or so, you'll be able to play it.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
You get it.
Whole lot of patience.
But you know what though? After hearing you describe like the features of it and
Yeah.
like the upgrades, I kind of now I'm looking at my nephew like, hey, he's a good
He's
student.
a good kid.
He's a good kid.
How old is he?
He's 17.
Okay, so you can't just like get an old one and like stencil a 2 on
No, I
there.
can't.
No, you can do that with a toddler.
Exactly.
But to hear you
the
like
cell phone's
really talk
connected to the
about the
internet.
features, bro, like I think.
Yeah.
Call me crazy, but it sounds like it's worth the money for the upgrades and what it's doing. What
If
do you
you're
think?
a real tech gadget person, you know, I mean, I like to cost average things. So like, how many hours are you actually going to spend on it? If you're spending 500 hours on it over a course of multiple years, that's $1 an hour. I mean, you can't really beat that, you know? And so it really depends like how much you're going to end up playing it. It's going to be hard for a lot of parents, you know, right now with everything going on to be able to afford that. But I mean, people are going to be getting it. So they're obviously selling out either way.
Yeah.
So they're going to be making bank.
All right, thanks, John. All that good info, and you can catch them. They're in 22 markets now. Congratulations, backstage.
Taking over.
All right. So, all right, the Texas heat is here, and one of the places you can kind of escape is the movie theater. Get some air conditioning, right?
Get in there, and our consumer reporter Heather Sullivan's got some great deals she found out Cinemark is having all summer long.
We are joined by Caitlin Piper with Cinemark, which is again offering a great deal for kids and families to enjoy movies this summer. And we're going to talk about some other ways to save money at the movies at Cinemark as well. Thanks so much for joining us, Caitlin.
I am thrilled to be here.
Yeah, so let's first talk about the deal. This sounds like a great deal that you have for kids and families.
Absolutely. So one of our fan favorite programs is our annual Summer Movie Clubhouse, which runs now through August 10th. And you get to have $1.75 tickets plus taxes and fees where applicable. It's every Monday and every Thursday. Check your theater website for the specific showtimes near you. But we bring back great family films for you to catch at a discounted price, because there's nothing better than sneaking away from the summer heat and getting in that cool auditorium, watching some family films. You get great concessions discounts as well. And it's really, really fun. And we love to start that movie going tradition at a young age.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm with you on the air conditioning.
Yes.
Let's talk about what's the price for tickets.
Sure. Price per ticket is $1.75 plus taxes and fees where applicable. You can order them online on the Cinemark app or get them at the box office. And you can see great films that we've brought back that aren't in theaters right now any other time of the week, like The Bad Guys, Shrek 2, Lego Batman, Despicable Me 4, and there's several more that the list goes on, but it's great to get to see these fun films come back at a great price.
Yeah, some big favorites for kids especially. And you mentioned there's a discount on concessions too?
Absolutely. So when you come and participate in Cinemark's Summer Movie Clubhouse, you get $1 off of kids' snack packs and then also $1 off of any size soda or popcorn. So lots of great opportunities to save yourself from the heat and to save some money.
And you can either buy them when you just go to the theater or online. Is that how that works?
Yes, absolutely. So we do have mobile ordering through our concession stands at the Cinemark app. So on top of buying your ticket online or on the app, you can also order your concessions there too. So you can knock it out all in one fell swoop and have it waiting for you when you arrive at the theater.
Okay. And I know you've got some other great deals for movie lovers like me, other ways that people can save money on their tickets.
Absolutely. So every Tuesday is Discount Tuesday at Cinemark, and all movie tickets are about half off, depending on which theater you're going to. So it's a huge discount. And that is such a great value because you can see some of the newest movies that are coming out this summer, sure to make screens explode with excitement at such a great savings. And then on top of that, we also have our Cinemark Movie Rewards program. We have a free tier where as you go to the movies at a Cinemark theater, you collect points and those can be redeemed for great discounts on concessions or movie tickets. And then we also have our Cinemark Movie Club, which for $10 a month, you get a free ticket as well as 20% off concessions every time you visit, as well as additional discounted tickets when you go to the theater if you want to bring friends or family. And those tickets roll over. So say you're a family of 4 and you only want to see 2 to 3 movies a year, you can do all of that with your credits and use multiple credits in one transaction. It's a great program. We have our fans just absolutely loving it and using it and just enjoying the savings that they rack up.
How do people find out more or sign up for those?
Absolutely. So I definitely recommend going to cinemark.com/movie club to learn more about Movie Club, and just cinemark.com or on the Cinemark app to learn more about Cinemark Movie Rewards, Cinemark Summer Movie Clubhouse, and Cinemark Discount Tuesday. Lots of great options for all of the fantastic films coming to big screens.
Awesome. Well, it sounds like everybody's going to have a lot of fun at the movies while saving some money. So Caitlin Piper with Cinemark, thanks so much for telling us about it. We appreciate it.
Of course, we appreciate you having us on.
Now, I got to be honest with y'all, man. I can't stay up in the movie. I don't even go to the movies no more like that because I cannot stay awake for the life of me. I'm falling asleep.
You know, I do, but that's when I go to those late movies. The last one I did that, the Wakanda Forever, every time I woke up, somebody else was dead. I'm like, oh, not the mom. I go back to sleep. Oh, no. I'm like, I know how this ends because... wake up. Somebody else was dying. I was like, and then they have like adult beverages and a blanket and serve. I'm like, I am no good. I wasted money.
Yeah, it is. It could be a waste of money. That's why I just sit at home, wait till the movie come out on HBO or something, and then fall asleep at home, and then I pick up right where I left off for free.
But for the kids, $1.75. They don't know they haven't seen Despicable Me 2. You just tell them we're going to the movies. And they get there. They're like, oh, we saw this. Not like this you haven't. You know what I'm saying?
It's an experience. Take advantage. Take advantage. Get those kids out the house.
Yeah, and get them off those digital devices. All right, let's talk now a little bit. We are shining the light on a small business you all may be familiar with here in the Houston area that was voted most popular of all of Texas, right here on Texas Live and Local. Ruben Dominguez shows us Cactus music and why it's been hitting a high note for half a century.
All right, you guys, you've probably been to Cactus Music if you follow us here on the Fox 26 or you follow me on Instagram or on digital because we do a little show here called The Drop every Thursday. But they're celebrating 50 years. This is Quinn Bishop and just voted most popular small business in the state of Texas. Congratulations.
Can you believe it?
I
Thank
can't
you.
believe it. I
Yeah,
can't.
yeah.
Real quick, tell folks. Obviously, vinyl is kind of the bread and butter here.
Yeah, but everything for the music lover. Because there's people that love records, there's people that still buy CDs, and there's people that stream but are looking for books or gifts, toys or something, anything that's music related.
You
That's
guys
what we
got
try
it.
to do.
All right. Well, let's cruise through here real quick. So we're in the Record Ranch. This is part of the store here, and I mean, it literally have a little bit of everything. You know, I've got I selected the Taylor Swift myself. Let's see, I've cut the glare out there, Tortured Poets Department, but this one's got the 24-page booklet and features an extra song, the Albatross. I love the wall of hip hop, man. When we get here, I feel like I'm home.
Yeah, if you're a hip hop fan, you have a dedicated place to shop in the store. We have Peter Best's photos from the Houston rap book and our friend Alan Easter. Oh, there's Bud.
Come on, the
We have
trilogy.
just a few copies left of his Record Store Day release. It came out last week, and he was kind enough to sign them for him. We have just a few left, so
I love that, and of
phones
course,
are gonna be ringing.
Of course, got the classic UGK on the wall. Yes, literally, and if also the staff, wealth of knowledge. Everybody here, the customer service is fantastic. But you can also go to the website, yeah.
Yeah. You can buy online from us, and we have a lot of collectibles on our Discogs platform too. So crazy stuff that you want to just gawk at.
Don't even have to leave the comfort of your home.
You don't have to leave the comfort of
Just
your home.
click the
true.
buy now, and you're good to go. Hey, man, congratulations on 50
Thanks,
years
buddy.
and being voted numero uno by the fans. All right, guys, Cactus Music right here, just off of 59 in Shefford. Come check them out. Ruben Dominguez, Fox 26 News.
And although you can do the stuff online, going into that record store like that and being able to kind of touch and see some of those exclusive, like they brought back the Selena something and all that. If you follow them on Instagram, some of your favorite artists come into town. They come in there, do a little signing and stuff. What a great place.
Yeah,
So
I'm not familiar with them, but
congratulations.
just hearing you talk about it earlier and then watching Ruben's segment, that seems like a place you definitely want to go and support.
Yeah, definitely a Houston staple.
All right. You remember yesterday we kind of told you.
We tried to tell you about a restaurant that does not exist in one of these Texas live and local cities.
All right, take a guess right now. We're talking about Waffle House. Which one of these cities you think do not have a Waffle House?
Well, if you said San Antonio, you're right. So, if you're really kind of fair about it, they don't know what they're missing. So how can you really be missing something you don't know you're missing?
Yeah, but listen, if you really know you're missing it, you need to go get to a Waffle House. The closest location to San Antonio is in Kyle. That's about 60 miles away, closer to Austin area. So maybe if you got a hankering for some Waffle House, and in San Antonio, you got to drive that 60 miles. But if you're around Texas, apparently there's more than 100 Waffle Houses all across the state. So, I mean, you got options.
You do have options, and they're hoping to get one in the near future in a location there. I wouldn't hold my breath. I mean, if you don't have one, my main thing is steak and eggs at Waffle House. A little nice greasy hash brown.
I like that all-star breakfast, man. Since college, let's be real. College late night, Waffle House is the only thing open at around 2 o'clock. You feel a little good about yourself. You go in there, get an all-star breakfast, get a waffle, cheese, eggs, put some onions and ham and cheese in the hash brown. I'm good.
And don't even remember you went the next day. You said college.
You already know. No, that's what happened. I went back every weekend because I knew I was getting fed. All right, you guys. We'll be right back with more Texas Live and Local.
Welcome back to Texas Live and Local. I am Coco Dominguez, joined by Anthony.
Anthony Antoine. We're here. Coco, Pride Month. And
yes.
You know, we've been having guests on talk about Pride Month.
Yeah, because there's so much to celebrate, so much pride in Houston, and along with our sports teams.
That's right. We got the president of women's soccer joining us now, Angela Hucles Mangano. Thank you so much for joining us here on Texas Live and Local.
Thanks so much for having me.
All right, so tell what's going on with you guys and some of the events you have coming up this month.
Yeah, really excited about this month for Pride Month in June with the Houston Dash. We have a lot of events. First and foremost, we have to highlight our game June 13th, Friday the 13th, out at Shell Energy Stadium. A lot of fun events and entertainment out there, and watching these players perform on the pitch. And some other lovely events coming up too, starting tonight at Pearl Bar. Come out, watch some bingo, play some bingo.
Oh, so it starts a little earlier? What time does that party start?
Yeah, that's at 6 o'clock.
Oh, nice. You can stop in after work and see how long you can hang.
Exactly.
Or go home, take a nap, and then come back up and see how long you can hang. Awesome. So tell us a little bit about what happens on the Pride Day game. Are you guys doing a little extra stuff that day?
Yeah, I think what's really special is a little bit of the lead up to it as well, and how we're really celebrating, promoting this month, promoting diversity, promoting individualism as well. And what great way to express that through sports. We have incredible athletes on our team with the Houston Dash, and part of that is celebrating how we can come together as a community.
Why is that important to make sure that you spotlight a month like Pride Month and really be supportive behind that community 100%?
Yeah, I think what's really special and important is that it is a celebration, right? Yeah. We need to take time to celebrate what's unique and special, and really how we're more alike than different sometimes. And that's at the core of the community building that we like to see with the Houston Dash.
And you don't have to wait until June 13th because you guys have watch parties as well coming up this weekend.
Exactly. Yeah, we play Orlando away, so we have a watch party here locally at Pearl Bar as well. So come on out and support and watch the team.
Is Pearl Bar 18 and up or 21 and up?
21.
21 and up.
And just talk about the overall experience of a Dash game, right? So if there's a family out there who've never been down the Shell to enjoy a Dash game, just talk about the experience and the atmosphere you guys try to cultivate there for families.
I think what's really special about it, it's something for everyone. It's families, it's singles, it's a way that we can bring sport and bring everyone together. You see the performances on the field, but off the field, events that go around during the game. We've got great vendors and food, so it's a lot of fun, and it's an exciting thing to watch and be a part of.
Yeah, the Dash community is so much fun, and just being involved with the players throughout the year, you guys really do a good job.
And what I also love too is just the interactive component of it as well. The kids will go down there, get their autographs and photos with the players after the game too.
Yeah.
A lot of the kids love to go and meet the players, and they have like little young soccer players, and it's so
mine
cute.
Do, so
And also talk about the growth of the NWSL and like where this is going, because women's sports in general, you're seeing growth, but also in the NWSL.
When you look at the NWSL and the growth of specifically our league and the teams within it, it's vastly different from even just 3 years ago to 10 years ago. And so when you look at media rights, when you look at the expansion fees, looking 3-4 years ago, $3 million to now $110 million for Denver to come in and have expansion rights. All of these things in terms of where the viewership is going, where the valuations are going, it's really off the charts right now, but that is showing the growth of the sport right now.
And I think Peyton Manning, was one of the investors in that team in Denver.
Correct.
So like your big time household names are recognizing the growth of women's sport in the NWSL.
Brian Ching got in from the beginning.
Exactly. A smart man, Brian Ching.
Yeah, he is. All right, what are the prices for tickets to get in?
They range, everything's very affordable, you average like $50-$60 for players for people to come in and get in for a couple of people, so $25 per person. But depending on where you sit, every seat is a great seat.
It really is. You're so close to the field from anywhere in the stadium.
Yeah.
And again, before you go, when is Pride Night again, and when is the game?
Come on out Friday,
June
13th, 7 o'clock. Come see us play.
Yeah, but tonight, Pearl Bar. That's the jam at 6 o'clock.
Yeah, we'll see you there for bingo.
All right, thank you so much for coming in.
Appreciate it.
That's awesome. And thank you guys for watching Texas Live and Local. Coco, how did we do today? We did all right?
I think we did great. This is day 4. In case you don't know, we will be back here tomorrow at 4 p.m. But stick around. We've got the news at 5 p.m.
That's right. Have a good one. We'll see you tomorrow.
Ciao.